Well, here's something I never thought I'd be doing at 45. Standing in the middle of Space Station Harmony VII, watching my German Shepherd Rex sniff what I'm pretty sure is a sentient mushroom while three-eyed aliens judge us like we're the opening act at a comedy show. Let me back up. I'm Commander Jake Morrison, call sign Tank, and before you ask, no, I didn't choose to be here. The brass thought it would be great PR for humanity to participate in the annual Galactic Pet Championships. Because apparently when you're trying to prove your species belongs in the galactic community, nothing says take us seriously like a dog show in space. Rex, bless his furry heart, is taking this whole thing better than I am. He's a solid 90 pounds of black and tan excellence, trained in combat operations, explosive detection, and apparently now, intergalactic diplomacy. The irony isn't lost on me that Earth's most decorated war dog is here to do party tricks for aliens who think we're barely evolved apes. Speaking of which, let me introduce you to our competition. Over there is Vextar, a Zephyrian who looks like someone crossed a praying mantis with a disco ball. His pet, if you can call it that, is Shimmer, a floating crystal that apparently feeds on cosmic radiation and can phase through solid matter. Vextar keeps making these clicking sounds that I think are supposed to be condescending laughter every time he looks our way. Then there's Ambassador Quill Knox, a Keltorian diplomat who resembles an oversized sea cucumber with delusions of grandeur. Her companion is Mind Whisper, a telepathic slug that supposedly can read thoughts across 3-star systems. Quill Knox has been broadcasting her amusement at humanity's quaint attachment to inferior life forms since we arrived. The station itself is impressive, I'll give them that. Harmony VI is a massive rotating wheel with artificial gravity that actually works, unlike half the human space stations I've been on. The competition arena is a crystal dome that offers a spectacular view of the Andromeda Nebula, which would be beautiful if I wasn't surrounded by aliens placing bets on whether Rex will embarrass our entire species. The other human contestants are scattered around the preparation area, looking about as thrilled as I feel. There's a Japanese family with a Shiba Inu that keeps trying to escape, a kid from Mars colony with what appears to be a genetically modified cat that glows in the dark, and an elderly woman from Earth's moon base with a chihuahua that somehow qualified for interstellar competition. We're basically the galactic equivalent of the kids' table at Thanksgiving. The tournament director, a floating jellyfish-like creature called Harmonizer Prime, drifted over earlier to explain the rules. Apparently, pets are judged on intelligence, unique abilities, bonding with their companions, and something called cosmic harmony, that I'm pretty sure they made up to sound important. Points are awarded for demonstrations of special skills, problem-solving, and the strength of the human-pet relationship. What they're really judging, of course, is whether humans deserve to sit at the big kids' table in galactic politics. Every snicker, every condescending comment, every alien shaking their equivalent of a head at our primitive bond with lesser creatures, is a reminder that we're here to prove ourselves worthy of respect. Rex doesn't care about any of that. He's focused on me, waiting for orders, ready for whatever comes next. That's the thing about dogs. They don't worry about politics or prejudice. They just love you and trust you to figure out the rest. Too bad I'm not sure I can. The opening ceremonies are exactly as pretentious as you'd expect from a bunch of aliens trying to prove they're more evolved than everyone else. Harmonizer Prime floats to the center of the arena, tentacles swaying dramatically as holographic displays showcase the magnificent diversity of galactic companionship. First up is Shimmer, Vextar's floating crystal. The thing rises into the air, splits into 12 identical copies of itself, but then each copy transforms into a different geometric shape while emitting what I can only describe as the sound of mathematics being performed by angels. The alien audience goes wild, making various clicking, whistling, and humming sounds that apparently constitute applause. Behold, Vextar announces in that translated voice that makes everyone sound like they're speaking through a synthesizer, the pinnacle of crystalline intelligence. My Shimmer can calculate hyperspace trajectories while composing poetry in 17 languages. The crowd eats it up. I glance down at Rex, who's watching the crystal show with the same expression he uses when I try to explain why we can't chase the neighbor's cat. Mild interest, complete incomprehension. Next comes Mind Whisper, Quill Knox's telepathic slug. The thing doesn't look like much, just a purple blob about the size of a dinner plate, but apparently it's reading everyone's minds simultaneously. Quill Knox closes her eyes and announces, Mind Whisper informs me that someone in Section 7 is thinking about their mother's cooking. Someone in Section 12 is worried about their taxes, and someone here is wondering if humans truly understand the concept of advanced companionship. More alien applause. I'm pretty sure that last mind reading was directed at us. The parade continues. There's a Vorthan with a pet that looks like liquid metal and can reshape itself into any form. A Crystalline shows off their companion, a living flame that dances through the air spelling out complex mathematical equations. A Nethrin presents their symbiotic partner, a creature that exists in 7 dimensions simultaneously and apparently tastes colors. Each demonstration is more outlandish than the last, and the alien audience becomes more smugly satisfied with their own superiority. I catch fragments of translated conversation. How quaint that humans brought their domesticated predators. Do they not understand that true companionship transcends such primitive biological bonds? I heard their pets cannot even survive without constant feeding. Then it's our turn. From the recently contacted world of Earth, Harmonizer Prime announces with what I swear is barely concealed amusement, presenting Rex and his human companion tank. I walk Rex to the center of the arena, feeling like we're the court jesters at a royal banquet. The alien chatter dies down to polite but patronizing attention. Rex sits at attention, every inch the professional soldier, waiting for my command. Rex, show them what you've got, I say. He performs his routine flawlessly. Sits, stays, comes when called. Retrieves a thrown object. Demonstrates his tracking abilities by following a scent trail I'd laid earlier. Shows off his agility by navigating an obstacle course. For his finale, he performs a complex series of tactical movements we learned in combat training, responding to hand signals while I stayed completely silent. The alien audience gives us what I can only describe as golf clap applause. Polite, restrained, and completely underwhelmed. Fascinating Vextar comments loudly enough for everyone to hear. It appears the human has trained their pet to follow simple commands. How wonderfully basic. Quill Knox adds, Mind Whisper notes that the creature's thoughts are remarkably simple. Code, loyalty, and an overwhelming desire to please its human. How limiting such a narrow consciousness must be. Other human contestants don't fare much better. Dr. Elena Vasquez, a xenobiologist from Luna Station, presents Einstein, her border collie. Einstein demonstrates remarkable problem-solving skills, navigating a complex puzzle box and even showing basic understanding of mathematical concepts. But the aliens watch with the same condescending attention you'd give a child showing off their finger painting. Sergeant Bull Williams, a Marine veteran from Titan Base, brings Duchess, his pit bull. Duchess performs protection drills, demonstrates incredible physical strength and agility, and shows unwavering focus under pressure. The aliens seem more puzzled than impressed, as if they can't understand why anyone would want a companion capable of violence. The pattern continues. Each human pet team performs with skill, heart, and obvious deep bonds, only to be dismissed as charmingly primitive by beings who think replacing genuine connection with telepathic convenience represents evolution. By the time the first round concludes, the alien attitude is clear. We're cute. We're trying our best. But we're playing a game we don't understand with partners who couldn't possibly measure up to their advanced companions. Rex looks up at me as we leave the arena, tail wagging slightly. He doesn't care about their judgment. He did his job, he made me proud. And that's enough for him. I wish I could be that confident. Because tomorrow we have to do this all over again. Day 2 of the competition starts with the same condescending alien superiority complex, but at least the morning demonstrations are moving faster. Apparently, once you've seen one pet rearrange reality, the rest start to feel repetitive. I'm watching a Keltorian showcase their companion, a sentient gas cloud that can predict weather patterns on distant planets, when Rex suddenly goes rigid beside me. His ears snap forward, nose twitching as he samples the air. I know that posture. It's the same one he used to get right before we'd get hit with incoming fire in the Martian conflict. What is it, boy? I whisper. But before he can answer in whatever way dogs answer, the station's emergency klaxons start blaring. The announcement comes in 12 different languages, but the universal translator makes it crystal clear. Alert. Alert. Hostile vessels detected. All personnel prepare for potential boarding action. This is not a drill. The arena erupts in chaos. Aliens are scrambling in every direction, their exotic pets reacting about as well as you'd expect. Shimmer, Vex Star's floating crystal, immediately phases through the floor and disappears. Mind Whisper, the telepathic slug, starts emitting a high-pitched whine that I'm pretty sure means it's having a psychic breakdown. The living flame goes out entirely, leaving its crystalline companion staring at empty air. Through the crystal dome we can see them, 3 sleek black ships with crimson markings that every spacer in the galaxy knows and fears. The Crimson Void Pirates, the most notorious raiders in 7 systems. They don't take prisoners, they don't negotiate, and they definitely don't care about interrupting pet shows. Harmonizer Prime floats frantically around the arena, tentacles flailing. Remain calm. Station security will handle this minor inconvenience. Please return to your assigned quarters. Yeah, right. I've seen minor inconveniences before, and they usually involve a lot more explosions and screaming. The first blast rocks the station hard enough to knock half the aliens off their feet. Emergency lighting kicks in, bathing everything in red that makes it look like we're already in hell. Through the dome, I can see the pirates' ships moving into docking position with the kind of precision that tells me this isn't their first raid. Station security tries to respond, but it's obvious they're outmatched. These aren't soldiers, they're mall cops with fancy uniforms. The few armed guards I can see are running around like their tails are on fire, shouting contradictory orders while the pirates systematically disable the station's defenses. The alien pets are absolutely useless. The Vorthan's shape-shifting metal companion has formed itself into what looks like a very shiny rock and refuses to move. The Nethren's multi-dimensional creature has apparently decided to exist entirely in dimensions where pirates can't find it. Even the pets that seemed impressive during the competition are either hiding, malfunctioning, or having what I can only describe as nervous breakdowns. But Rex is standing at attention, ears forward, muscles coiled like a spring. He's not panicking. He's waiting for orders. I look around the arena. The other human contestants are doing the same thing I am, checking on their dogs while everyone else loses their minds. Einstein, Elena's border collie, is calmly assessing the situation with the kind of focus that would make a chess grandmaster jealous. Duchess, Bull's pit bull, has positioned herself between her handler and the most likely entry point for hostiles. That's when it hits me. All these aliens with their advanced, exotic, supposedly superior companions, and when real danger shows up, their pets are about as useful as decorative plants. But our primitive dogs? They're ready to work. The second blast is closer, followed by the unmistakable sound of cutting torches. The pirates are boarding. Harmonizer Prime's voice crackles over the intercom, distorted by static and what sounds like panic. Security teams to docking Bay 7. All civilians shelter in place. Do not attempt to resist. I look down at Rex, who's looking back at me with that expression that says he's ready for whatever comes next. Around us, aliens are cowering behind their malfunctioning pets while the most dangerous raiders in the galaxy cut their way toward us. Elena catches my eye from across the arena, Einstein at her side. Bull nods grimly, Duchess already moving into tactical position. The other human contestants are making the same calculation I am. Our pets might not be able to phase through walls or rid mines, but they understand loyalty, they understand courage, and they understand that sometimes you have to fight for what matters. The Crimson Void Pirates are about to learn why humans chose wolves as companions 10,000 years ago. The lights go out completely just as the first pirates breach the main corridor. I can hear their boots echoing through the station's halls, along with the distinctive whine of energy weapons charging up. In the darkness, Rex's training kicks in immediately. He moves to my left side, body pressed against my leg so I can feel his position without having to see him. Emergency lighting flickers back on, casting everything in hellish red shadows. Through the arena's main entrance, I catch my first glimpse of our uninvited guests. The Crimson Void pirates look exactly like the reputation suggests, heavily armed, heavily armored, and completely professional in their approach to violence. These aren't desperate raiders. They're military-grade killers who've turned piracy into an art form. The lead pirate, a scarred human with cybernetic implants covering half his face, surveys the arena full of panicking aliens and their useless pets with obvious satisfaction. Well, looks like we interrupted a party. Hope nobody minds if we help ourselves to the refreshments. His crew fans out with practiced efficiency weapons trained on the crowd. I count 12 pirates in the first wave, which means there are probably twice that many securing the rest of the station. Standard boarding protocol. Nobody moves, nobody dies, Cyborg Face announces. We're here for the station's cargo manifests and whatever valuables you fine folks have on hand. Cooperate, and you might live to tell your grandchildren about this exciting day. The aliens are frozen in terror. Vextar is making clicking sounds that I think might be hyperventilating. Quill Knox has gone completely pale, her telepathic slug having apparently decided that consciousness is overrated. Even Harmonizer Prime is just floating there like a deflated balloon. But I'm not looking at the aliens. I'm looking at Elena, who's slowly reaching for the emergency communicator on her belt. At Bull, who's calculating angles and distances with the eye of someone who's planned ambushes before. At the other human contestants, who are all doing the same thing I am, waiting for the right moment. The pirates are making their first mistake. They're treating this like a standard raid against soft targets. They don't know they're dealing with military personnel and their four-legged partners who've been trained for exactly this kind of situation. Rex's muscles are coiled under my hand. He can sense what's coming. So can Einstein Duchess storm the Husky and Judge the Rottweiler. They're all waiting for the signal. The second pirate mistake comes when one of them gets too close to the Crystalline whose flame pet went out. The alien cringes away, and the pirate laughs. Look at these cowards. No wonder humans think they can join the galactic community. The rest of you aren't even worth conquering. That's when I realize the pirates have made their biggest mistake of all. They think we're all the same kind of soft targets. I catch Elena's eye and nod toward the emergency controls. She nods back. Bull's already moving, using the crowd as cover to flank left. The other humans are spreading out, their dogs moving with them in perfect synchronization. Rex, I whisper, sweep and clear. He doesn't bark. He doesn't make any sound at all. He just moves. 90 pounds of trained German Shepherd hits the nearest pirate at full speed, jaws locking onto the man's weapon arm before he can even start to react. The pirate's scream cuts through the arena like a siren, and suddenly everyone's moving at once. Einstein doesn't attack. Instead, he races to the emergency controls, leaping up to hit the station-wide alarm that will alert any remaining security forces. Elena follows, using her xenobiology knowledge to access the station's defensive systems. Duchess goes for the throat, literally. Bull's trained her for close-quarters combat, and she moves through the crowd of panicking aliens like a furry missile, targeting the pirates who are trying to establish firing positions. Storm and Judge coordinate their attack on the pirates near the main entrance, working together to create chaos and confusion while their handlers move to support positions. The pirates try to respond, but they're dealing with something they've never encountered before. Coordinated attacks from intelligent predators who don't care about energy weapons or armor. You can't intimidate a dog that's been trained to charge machine gun nests. Cyborg Face raises his weapon toward Rex, but I'm already moving. 20 years of military training kicks in as I tackle him from the side, both of us crashing into the arena's barrier. His weapon goes flying, and Rex releases his original target to help me. The battle rages for maybe 3 minutes, but it feels like hours. The pirates are good, but they're used to fighting other humanoids who follow predictable patterns. They're not used to fighting humans who've learned to fight alongside predators. By the time the smoke clears, 8 pirates are down, 3 are unconscious, and Cyborg Face is being held at gunpoint by Bull, while Duchess keeps his legs pinned to the floor. The remaining pirate force, hearing the chaos over their comms, decides that discretion is the better part of valor. Their ships disengage and disappear into hyperspace, leaving their boarding party behind. In the sudden silence, the only sounds are the heavy breathing of humans and dogs, and the whimpering of aliens who've just learned that sometimes the most primitive solution is the most effective one. Rex trots back to my side, tongue lolling out like he's just finished a pleasant morning walk. There's not a scratch on him. Good boy. Nay. The aftermath of a firefight in space is always surreal, but this one takes the prize. I'm standing in an arena full of traumatized aliens, unconscious pirates, and dogs who look like they just finished a particularly satisfying game of fetch. The alien pets, meanwhile, are still either hiding, malfunctioning, or having existential crises. Harmonizer Prime floats over to where I'm checking Rex for injuries. The jellyfish thing's tentacles are trembling, and its voice carries a note I haven't heard before, genuine respect. Commander Morrison, it says, I believe I owe you and your companions an apology. And an explanation. Station security finally arrives, looking embarrassed and carrying weapons that probably wouldn't stop a determined housecat. They start collecting the unconscious pirates while shooting nervous glances at our dogs. I notice they're giving Rex an especially wide berth, which is smart of them. Vex Tar approaches slowly, his crystal pet still nowhere to be seen. Your creature, he clicks hesitantly. It did not abandon you when faced with danger. Dogs don't abandon their partners, I reply, scratching Rex behind the ears. That's kind of the point. But my shimmer, Vex Tar continues, she is capable of dimensional phase shifting, energy manipulation, mathematical computation beyond your understanding. Your Rex can merely bite things. I look at Rex, who's calmly surveying the arena like he's calculating fields of fire. Sometimes biting things is exactly what the situation calls for. Quillnock slithers over, her telepathic slug finally recovered enough to resume consciousness. Mind Whisper informs me that during the attack, she could sense the thoughts of every being in this arena. The pirates' minds were filled with confidence and aggression. The aliens' minds were filled with terror and confusion. But your dogs. She pauses, tentacles writhing. Your dogs' minds were filled with one thought only: protect the human. Elena joins us, Einstein at her side. That's what you've been missing, she explains in her patient scientist voice. You've created companions based on capability, intelligence, exotic abilities. We created companions based on loyalty. Bull nods, Duchess sitting at perfect attention beside him. Duchess here can't read minds or phase through walls. But she'll die before she lets anyone hurt me. That's worth more than all the telepathy in the galaxy. The other alien competitors are starting to understand. The Crystalline whose flame pet extinguished itself looks ashamed. The Vorthan whose shapeshifter turned into a rock seems confused. The Nethran whose multi-dimensional creature decided to exist somewhere else entirely appears to be having some kind of philosophical crisis. But surely Harmonizer Prime protests, advanced capabilities are more valuable than simple emotional attachment? I gesture toward the unconscious pirates. Ask them how they feel about emotional attachment right now. That's when Vex Tar does something I didn't expect. He starts making those clicking sounds again, but softer this time. It takes me a moment to realize he's not laughing at us anymore. He's crying. Shimmer appeared to me 3 cycles ago, he explains. She was the most magnificent being I had ever encountered. Intelligent, capable, beautiful. But when the pirates came, she left me. She saved herself and abandoned me to die. Rex walks over to Vex Tar and sits down next to him. Just sits there, calm and steady. Like he's saying, this is what loyalty looks like. Your Rex, Vex Tar clicks quietly. He would not have left you. Rex would have died trying to save me, I confirm. That's the difference between a pet and a partner. Quillnock speaks up again. Mind Whisper has been monitoring galactic communications. The pirates have been raiding stations across 3 systems for months. Military forces have been unable to stop them because they use advanced tactics and superior technology. But today, Bull adds with a grin, they met something they weren't prepared for. Humans who fight like pack animals, with pack animals who fight like humans. The crowd of aliens is starting to murmur among themselves in a dozen different languages. The universal translator is picking up fragments: loyalty, partnership, courage, sacrifice. Words that apparently don't translate well when you're talking about pets that can read minds but won't risk their own safety. Einstein walks over to the emergency controls and sits down next to them, looking back at Elena with obvious pride. Storm and Judge join their handlers, tails wagging slightly in the way dogs do when they know they've done good work. "We have misunderstood," Harmonizer Prime announces to the arena. "We have been judging companionship by capability rather than character. We have valued intelligence over loyalty, power over partnership." The alien audience is dead silent. Some of them are looking at their exotic pets with new understanding. Others are looking at our dogs with something that might be envy. Vextar stands up slowly. "Commander Morrison," he clicks formally, "I would like to request information about acquiring one of your Earth canines." "Me too," says Quillnox. "And me," adds the Crystalline. Within minutes, half the aliens in the arena are asking about dog adoption procedures. I'm not sure Earth is ready to become the galaxy's premier pet store, but stranger things have happened. Rex looks up at me and wags his tail once. I think he's figured out we're not in trouble anymore. Good boy. Very good boy. 3 hours later, I'm standing in the same arena where this whole thing started, but the atmosphere has changed completely. The crystal dome has been repaired, the pirate blood has been cleaned up, and Harmonizer Prime is floating in the center of the arena with what I can only describe as a completely different attitude. Fellow beings of the galactic community. The jellyfish announces, today we have witnessed something unprecedented. We have learned that true companionship cannot be measured by exotic abilities or advanced intelligence. It must be measured by loyalty, courage, and the willingness to sacrifice for one another. The alien audience, significantly more subdued than it was this morning, murmurs agreement in a dozen languages. I notice that several of them are no longer accompanied by their exotic pets. Shimmer is still nowhere to be seen. Mind Whisper is apparently taking a mental health day, and the shape-shifting metal creature has decided to remain in rock form permanently. Therefore, Harmonizer Prime continues, we are establishing new categories for future competitions: loyalty under fire, courage in crisis, and partnership in peril. These categories will measure not what a companion can do, but what a companion will do. Vextar clicks something that the translator renders as applause. His approval is echoed by the other aliens, though I notice their enthusiasm is more respectful than condescending now. The winner of this year's championship, Harmonizer Prime announces, is Rex of Earth and his human partner, Commander Morrison. Rex wags his tail exactly once and sits at perfect attention. If he's impressed by winning an intergalactic dog show, he's hiding it well. Then again, he's probably more interested in the fact that I snuck him some of that Martian beef jerky from my emergency rations. Elena approaches with Einstein, who's carrying a small device in his mouth. "Congratulations," she says with a smile. "Einstein wanted to give you this. It's a communicator he rebuilt during the battle. He figured you might need it if we ever have to do this again." Sol and Duchess join us, followed by the other human contestants and their dogs. We're a motley crew, but we're a crew that proved something important today. So Bull asks, what do you think the brass will say when they hear we won a galactic pet show by fighting pirates? Probably that we're the weirdest diplomatic mission in Earth's history, I reply, but they'll be proud of us. Vextar approaches cautiously, still looking embarrassed about Shimmer's disappearing act. "Commander Morrison, I have submitted a formal request to Earth's diplomatic corps. I would like to obtain one of your German shepherds." "Vextar," I tell him, "dogs aren't pets. They're partners. You can't just buy one and expect it to work. You have to earn their loyalty." "How?" he clicks. I look down at Rex, who's been patiently enduring all this attention while scanning the crowd for potential threats. 20 years together, from military bases to alien space stations, and he's never let me down once. "You start by understanding that they're not here to serve you," I explain. "They're here to work with you. You feed them when they're hungry, protect them when they're vulnerable, and never, ever abandon them when things get dangerous. In return, they'll give you something no amount of exotic abilities can buy: absolute loyalty. Will Knox slides over. Mind whispers, curious about the psychological bond between humans and canines. She would like to study it. Your slug can study all she wants, I reply, but she'll never really understand it until she's willing to risk everything for someone else. That's not something you can learn telepathically. The award ceremony continues with speeches about interspecies cooperation and the importance of reevaluating our assumptions about intelligence and capability. It's all very diplomatic and proper, but I can tell the aliens are genuinely shaken by what they've learned today. Their pets were impressive, sure, but when the shooting started, those pets made the same calculation that any intelligent being would make: save yourself first. Our dogs made a different calculation entirely: save the pack, even if it costs you everything. As the ceremony winds down, Harmonizer Prime floats over to me privately. "Commander Morrison," it says quietly, "may I ask you a personal question?" "Shoot." "Why did humans choose to bond with predators? Your dogs are descended from wolves, are they not? Why choose companions that could destroy you?" I scratch Rex behind the ears, and he leans into it with the satisfaction of a job well done. "Because I tell the floating jellyfish we didn't want companions who would destroy us. We wanted companions who would destroy anyone who tried to hurt us." Rex looks up at me and wags his tail. That's the thing about dogs. They don't care if you're the toughest species in the galaxy or the newest kids on the galactic block. They don't care if your technology is primitive or your culture is unsophisticated. They just care about you. And sometimes when the shooting starts and the lights go out and everyone else is running for their lives, that's the only thing that matters. The aliens learned something today about loyalty and courage and the bonds that hold civilizations together. They learned that sometimes the most advanced solution isn't the best solution, and that sometimes the most primitive bonds are the strongest ones. But mostly they learned why humans chose wolves as our companions 10,000 years ago, and why we've never regretted it since. Rex and I walk out of the arena together, partners in crime and champions of the galaxy. Tomorrow we'll head back to Earth, where he'll go back to being a military working dog and I'll go back to being a soldier. But today we're ambassadors who prove that humanity belongs in the galactic community, not because of our technology or our intelligence, but because of our loyalty. And that's a lesson worth teaching, even if it takes a pirate attack to make the point. Good boy, Rex. Very good boy.